Hi cuties, I am Durga and now we are up with a brand new story and the name is The Devout Beggar. Okay, let's go into it. A long time ago, Andhra Pradesh was ruled by a kind and a generous king. Every day, two beggars, Timma and Somma, would go to him and he would give them food and money. On receiving the alms, Timma would say, God is great, he provides for the needy. Soma, on the other hand, says, Hail to a mighty king, he provides for all in his kingdom. The ritual went on for many days. Finally, one day the king got very angry with Timma. He said, I provide all that he needs and yet he praises God. What has God done for him? Shouldn't he praise and thank me? He said to himself. The king then decided, I will teach that ungrateful beggar a lesson. He must realize who is really providing for him. So the next day, after he gave the beggars their usual alms, he said, I want you both to use the road that goes around the marketplace today. The beggars were confused by this unusual request but agreed. The king had placed a purse of silver on the road and saw to it that Soma went first. Soma wondered at the king. At the king's request and saying, maybe the king wants me to enjoy the privacy of this road. So he shutted his eyes and walked on without seeing the purse. Soon Timma came by. He found the purse and was ecstatic. The next day, the king asked them if they had found anything on their way back. Soma said, No, your majesty, I did not find anything. I just enjoyed its beauty. Timma, on the other hand, said, God surely does provide. I got a purse of silver, he said. The king was really irritated when the beggars were leaving. He gave Soma a pumpkin. The pumpkin had been hollowed out and was filled with gold. He did not know this and so he sold it to a merchant for a few coins. A little while later, Timma passed the merchant's store. The merchant was a kind-hearted man and so he called Timma and gave him the pumpkin. Timma thanked him and took it to home. The next day, the king asked the two beggars if anything unusual had happened to them. Soma said, No, sir, I just earned some few coins more by selling the pumpkin to a merchant, he said. The king then turned to Timma and asked him if he had earned more than usual too. Timma said, Oh yes, sir, a merchant gave me a pumpkin. When I opened it, it was full of gold. God is really great, he said. I came to tell you that I am no longer a beggar. The gold I got yesterday is sufficient for me to live the rest of my life in comfort. God does provide for his people, continued Timma. The king was very frustrated, but he had to accept his defeat. He acknowledged that Timma was right. He thought, after all, it was God who provided for me and therefore indirectly for these beggars. Yes, God is great. He is the real provider, he said. So, I hope you liked this story. If you did, smash the like button. And I am Durga saying a goodbye.